Well, it's just after midnight. I didn't really get around to doing the Thursday thing. I was sitting and sewing some aprons and things like that, and picking up a little here and there around here. And I've been hungry, like really hungry. That's my first stage of depression. My second stage is not eating anything at all. And the third is where I'm so depressed that I could walk right out in front of a truck and wouldn't care. That's a bad one. I've done that before. I walked down the highway and a police stopped and took me to the hospital. And I got in. He made sure I went in the hospital. As soon as he left, I left. Because it's like the help hotlines. If you're that depressed, you're not going to call a hotline. You're not. But that's not what I wanted to talk about. Brian texted me, said, "You want to go with me to pick up Spence?" He'd been sick the first part of the week. He went back today. And he still coughs. He's still sinusy. And on the way home, he fell asleep in the truck. And the little guy was just, he's talking however he talks. And we get home. Brian was warming up a bottle for the little guy. Or no, he did that later. Spencer says, "Can I go over to Nana's and watch funny kitty cats on TV?" And Brian said, "Yes, but no snacks and no car game on Nana's phone." Okay. He comes over and he's repeating it so that he doesn't forget. No snacks, no car game. No snacks, no car game. And we come over and he's looking around for anything new. And I showed him the little apron I made for him. And I said, "I need you to put this on just till I know where to put the buttons or the snaps or whatever." So he put it on. It's a little apron for if he helps me cook or mama cook or something. So he doesn't get his clothes all flowery. And it fits perfect. I didn't even know how to do it. I just kind of took a piece of fabric and imagined how big he was and all that. I might go out and get some great big snaps to put the neck thing around his neck with a big snap. I'm not going to make sewing at both places because he's a kid and it has to be able to break free. Otherwise, I'll choke in certain situations. So that'll probably do that in the morning early and maybe try to pick up the mail at the post office. Our mailbox is still compromised. The one that's just halfway down the street here, at other people's houses, no one broke into that. Just our mailbox up the street. It's a pain in the butt. That's what it is. And so I'll have that. We were watching funny kitty cats and stuff on the videos on TV. And he looks and he's like, "You still have some of those chocolates over there." I said, "Yeah, I do." And he's longingly looking at them. And I said, "Nope, Daddy said no snacks, no car game." So he goes over to the refrigerator because he knows I bought some ice cream. He opens up the freezer and he pulls out the drawer and he goes, "Ice cream? That'll make me feel better." Oh, what a... Brian knows he works on you. He knows. Brian said he's going to try to rat you out. He's going to try to get you to do something. He's right. And I said, "No. But I thought we were going to have a taste test." And I said, "I do plan on doing a taste test, but you have a cold and you're still sick. You can't taste the ice cream the way it's meant to be tasted. When you have a cold, you don't taste things the way that you would normally taste them. And you may or may not like it. But yeah, if you like it with a cold, and you may not like it without a cold." Okay. He took that as the answer. That's good. And we were sitting here for a while. He played with the cat just a little bit and went in my room. He goes, "I want to go in your room." Then Brian gave me a kind of like a, it's like a little humidifier thing. You put essential oil and drops in the water. So we were looking at that for a little while. He was trying to figure out how that worked. Then we looked out the window and we watched people jog by or a car drive by. And then he looks over towards my fingernail polish and he says, I would like to have some fingernail polish, please. And I said, no. Why? I said, because Daddy and Mommy don't want you to have fingernail polish on. Why? I said, I don't know. We'd have to ask them. So down off the bed he jumps, and we go over to their house. And Brian's at the sink washing out a pan or something, gonna prepare supper. And he says, Daddy, Daddy, Daddy. He goes, yes, Spencer. He goes, I want fingernail polish. And Nana said no. Why? She said, I have to ask you. And why can I have fingernail polish? And he said no. And Spencer's like, why? And Brian gave a really good answer. He said, because it's not necessary. You don't need it. And it was like a little bit of an overload of a thought. So he stopped asking. And we played over there till Mommy came home. Baby got his bottle. Brian was preparing Spencer's food. I always try to come back over here before she comes in the door because she thinks that I'm always there. And that I'm all, butting in all the time. I know that's what she thinks. And it's not true. I was only there for like 5, maybe 10 minutes at the very most. And I was going to get up and come back home. But I didn't when I thought of it. And I should have. Because then she comes in the door and she's like, I know how she feels. My mother-in-law was wonderful. I loved her. But I can understand if someone had to come into my mom that they think the same way. Probably. My mom's family was like that. Her sister and brother also were like that. There was always conditions, and my mom was the worst of them, but there was always a condition that had to be met. It's just like my husband, The kids wanted a pet. We were going to get a kitty cat. And Charles said, he had all these conditions. Well, your mom's got to find a good job, and this has to happen, and that has to happen, and this has to happen. Otherwise, we can't do it. And you have to pick out a name first. So they picked out the name Rainbow because we were going to get a calico cat. We went to the Humane Society, and there was a cage with 3 or 4 little kitties. They were adorable. One was not as adorable, but seemed really loving and wanted to go home with us. So that's the one we picked. We named her Rainbow. And she was our cat for a long time. Even after the divorce, Rainbow moved with us. Okay, what was I going to talk about? I don't know. I've been watching various videos, and I watch videos of people that have similar views to me, politically. I'm wearing my resistor shirt. A resistor is an electronic component. It has a wire on each side, and when current goes through there, it puts a certain resistance on it so that it doesn't overheat the circuit board or whatever it's on. And it has different colors that have numbers attached to the different colors. And over on this side, there's usually a stripe that tells how much resistance. The colored stripe on this side would tell exactly how much resistance is going through the unit. And this side is the number of the thing itself. So if you get a 47, which is this, you know that it probably has 5% or 10% resistance if it has a little brown stripe or whatever. Anyway, this is 4 and that's 7. So I am a 47 resistor. 47th President Trump. I don't even want to think about it, but it is what it is, and I don't like that expression, but I'm going to use it. I don't like what's happening with the Elon Musk guy. He's creepy. He looks like a Belgian that I met. No offense to anybody that's Belgian. The guy that I met that was Belgian was creepy. Ugh. His skin was so white. Looked like the underside of a whale. Kind of weird and fishy. Ugh. Anyway, Elon's kind of like that, kind of creepy. He is spoiled, probably never heard the word no. His dad was an industrialist, and money was a very important thing for them, and money, 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 money. So that's why he's that way. And Trump is glommed onto him because he knows how to stroke Trump's ego. Anyone that strokes a narcissist ego is in their favor, basically. Anyone that stands up or says no or something is either the scapegoat or they're punished somehow. Anyway, Elon and those young fellas, ages 19 to 24, were hacking into the United States Treasury Department and Human Resources, etc., and doing away with this and doing away with that. And yesterday, when I went to the post office to pick up mail, this guy behind me, old crusty Gus, standing there, Trump is doing this and he's doing a great job. He wants to do away with the post office, and I agree, and blah, blah. I said, I think that would be a mistake. And he looked at me like, no one ever says no to my rants, I do. And I said, where do you get your information? Well, so-and-so said they pay $20,000 a month rent for this building. It's real little. And I said, I don't think so. Oh, they work here. They know, blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, maybe they weren't told the exact thing. Not all employers tell their employees everything. Maybe you didn't know. Maybe he was trying to shut you up, baby, basically. And he was going on and on about post office this and post office that. And I said, I'm from the Midwest. My ex was a postal carrier. I took the test and they wanted me to be a postal person, but my ex said no. But I know all about the post office. I have some good friends back there. One is higher ranking than a postmaster general. I don't know what he does exactly, but he's way up there. And another lady is a union rep for a different post office, etc., etc. And another person that was in theater with me is a postal carrier too. So I've known a lot about that stuff, and I knew what their duties were, etc., etc. Why our mailbox is the one compromised all the time, I don't get it. But this old guy's going, well, they have professional bands of thieves, and they get the mail, and then they tear it open and throw it around, and blah, 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 blah. And I said, I don't know why. Well, money. And I said, most people do their banking online, and even Social Security checks are direct deposit. So I shut him up for a little while. And I just had to get out of there because I can't surround myself with that. And then I went up to the gym. I wanted to quit the gym because all the people up there, even the owner of the gym, is ultra right, blah, blah, blah. Bullshit crap comes out of their mouth all the time. And where the hell are they getting this information? I don't know. I mean, there's common sense will tell you that everything that comes out of their mouth can't be true because they really spew out some stuff. So I'm going to gotta go up there tomorrow morning and take a picture of the address that I have to write to. It's changed apparently, so he did me a great big favor. The annual fee he waived, and then I grandfathered in at a low price. But it's not worth my health emotionally to be surrounded by people that are gonna blither on about their cult leader. No. I'm sorry, how long have I talked? 14 minutes and something. Alright, I'm trying to make it shorter. I'm hot. I always get really, really hot about half an hour before I finally decide to settle down and go to bed. I'll be taking my shirt off, and then in a half hour I'll cool down. They tell you take a hot shower, and then when you cool down from that, then your body will be ready for bed. That's one of the homeopathic things. I was watching, you watch something on YouTube and then all of a sudden you start getting similar videos all the time. Well, if you like that, well, we know you'll like this. So if you're curious about something bizarre, you're going to get more videos suggested to you like that. But I watch a lot of people that have similar political views to me. John Flannery, who's an attorney in Washington, D.C. Naughty Nana does from Canada. And Antonia Grammy's views. She's in North Carolina or something. And I sent her a shirt like this and explained what it was about. She said she received it. Received a lot of gifts lately and a t-shirt. But she's going to make another video about that. I haven't seen it come out yet. I'm curious what she's going to say about it. And then I curiously watched one of those tarot card reading thing, and I get those on my feed constantly. Well, I thought, okay. One was about Trump's health. I thought, okay, let's see what this guy's got to say. He used 5 different decks, different tarot cards, and he went through the first 6 months of the year. January through June. And he said, well, this one, it looks like someone's health is faltering, but nobody's letting on. And by April, the end of April, there'll be a death. And they're going to keep it secret. They're not going to say anything about it. They'll have to come up with a story or rearrange everything. And I'm thinking, it'll be a mess, but I welcome that. The devil will probably spit him back up on earth. Like, well, I don't want that guy. But at least it's things are messed up and they're going to get worse, but they say it's always darkest before the dawn. There's always got to be a morning after. Yeah, right. There's got to be a morning after. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Yep, I was thinking of comedy stuff. I went to open mic night last night. Got a chortle. But it was off night for everybody that did their thing. All of us. I did my 5 minutes, but there were 2 or 3 guys that didn't even do their 5 minutes. It's just like they weren't feeling it. And a lot of people just aren't feeling it, lately. I can always think of stuff when I'm not up on stage. Brian said, well, you have to write it down. Because I was thinking of a song I wrote a long time ago. The chorus part I remember. The other stuff I'll have to rehab. It's like a country song. Honey, I love you since the dog done died. You'll never know how much I cried. I'll never feel the same again. That kind of stuff. And then I came up with a really nice song, a positive song, this morning, and I can't remember it now. So maybe it'll come to me between now and next Wednesday. I have lots of stories I can tell about things that have happened in my life and all the mistakes I've made. But I have to do it in a funny way. One guy, this is the second week in a row, he talked about eating ass. This young guy in his 20s. A Hispanic guy. He's a nice looking kid. And he was talking about eating ass and it was dark and he came back and he was talking about what exactly was going on. And he goes, that was her belly button, or whatever. And then after it was all over and everybody was leaving, I stopped him and I said, when you do the eating ass, I said, do you have to ask your girlfriend to prepare first or anything? And he goes, oh, no, I don't. I said, what if she has hemorrhoids? He goes, no, I don't really do that. I just talk about it in my act. And I'm like, oh, and then they're laughing at me for being an old lady that didn't know anything. And I said, well, we've got the word felch. If you felch, that's coming into someone's ass, sucking it out, and then spitting it in their mouth. And I was talking about All in the Family, which was a TV show in the 70s. They had no clue what I was talking about. They were like, huh? So I had to tell them it was a show in the 70s, and it was about a family, and the father was very ultra-conservative, and his views on things were very so-so. And I said, but the reverend of the church they went to was Reverend Felcher. And I thought, and the audience would laugh and stuff, and I had to look it up. So that's how I found out what the word meant. So it was Norman Lear wrote the series, All in the Family. Had Rob Reiner as Meathead. Sorry, not Meatloaf. Meathead. Sally Struthers was married to. She was. What was her name on the show? Anyway, there was Edith and Archie and their daughter that married Meathead, who was a hippie, and the dynamic there, and the neighbors across the way were the Jefferson family that ended up having a spin-off show called The Jeffersons, where they moved from the working class neighborhood up to the high class neighborhood because he owned a bunch of dry cleaners, and he made it big. So there's all these shows and things that the younger generation has no idea about. How maybe I can do that for an act. I can tell them how public's view of things were how they what was the Brady Bunch was the very first TV show that had the man and wife in the same bed. It was a big bed, and they were on the far sides of it. But before that, you couldn't do that in a TV show. And things that they get away with now on TV shows they couldn't do back then. I could do like history of how things have changed and how they're changing again. I don't want to go back to the early 1800s when there was slavery, and anybody that was not a rich white man was bad. And especially women, where women had no power, they couldn't buy property, they owned nothing, the man told them what to do, and they couldn't vote, they couldn't do anything. That's what these old farts want. I don't want to go back to that. You're insane. Why would you go back if you have scientific advancements? Why would you listen to brainworm Kennedy and not vaccinate and not take care? And I know what is. I've seen someone that had to use an iron lung. It's not pretty. That was for polio. It was not pretty. That's a story for another time, as somebody said in another movie. Do you ever quote movie lines with your family or friends? We do. Something comes up and you'll say a line like inconceivable, and then all of a sudden all the other things that you start saying to each other are lines from that same movie, The Princess Bride. Wallace Shawn had that part. He'd say, the Sicilian, he'd say, inconceivable. And Billy Crystal was in that. Have fun storming the castle. All these great lines in various movies. Blazing Saddles is another movie, and Young Frankenstein's another movie that have a lot of great lines in it. And I'm sure I blithered on too long. Oh my God. Why do I think everything that comes out of my mouth is golden? I don't know. Maybe I feel like I'm talking to you, that you're right here with me, and I like the company. No, not me. You. I like you. I'm glad you're there. And if you've listened this far, big wet kiss for ya. Ew. Upward and onward.